The Chris Tucker that we got now is Epstein Island Chris Tucker, not Smokey.
Oh, Lord.
If I didn't know no better, I'd tell you he's the greatest.
Oh, y'all ain't know what happened to Chris Tucker? Well, it gets a little deep. See, Chris Tucker had a problem. He films this movie called Rush Hour, and suddenly he becomes the highest paid actor in Hollywood. Not comedy actor, the highest paid actor in Hollywood. Every script in Hollywood wants a piece of Chris, but Chris starts turning down roles. Why, you ask? Well, let's just say they were asking him to do things that he wasn't a fan of.
Katt Williams just dropped a bomb about why Chris Tucker really walked away from Hollywood, and it had nothing to do with him being too greedy or chasing a bigger paycheck. According to Katt, the truth is way darker. They were allegedly pushing him to take part in wild, freaky, behind-closed-doors sessions, and Chris wasn't about to play that game.
I know Cube want to do another one because Cube, of course, it's like, you know, he kind of created Fridays, and I was in the first one. Yeah. And Cube, after I did the first Fridays back then, I never thought about doing sequels. I always wanted to do a good job and keep moving to the next movie.
This man went from sitting on top of Hollywood as one of its highest paid stars to being completely iced out, blackballed so deep he can't even land a role in a low-budget indie film. The machine wasted no time swapping him out for actors who were willing to do what was asked. Names like Martin Lawrence, Kevin Hart, and Jamie Foxx.
So Cube asked me back in, I think it was 96 or 97. He's Chris, we want to do another Fridays, man. And I was just like, nah, I don't want to do another Fridays. I want to do like Eddie Murphy and them did. I want to do Money Talks. I did Money Talks and then eventually did Rush Hour. I said, I don't want to do another. And he said, what? You sure? I was like, nah, I don't want to do another. So he couldn't believe it, but he kept moving, and he got Mike Epps, and they went and did another one, and it was great. He did two of them, and they were great.
And we've all seen how things eventually played out for Martin, and especially for Jamie. Jamie Foxx ended up in the hospital after allegedly being poisoned. And Martin, he was literally out in the streets shouting that somebody was trying to end his life. No wonder Chris Tucker kept quiet about the real reason he walked away from Hollywood.
Chris Tucker not talked about being in next Friday? Because I know it was Mike Epps, but...
We wanted him. You know, he turned it down. Yeah, we wanted to pay him $12 million to do that movie.
What the
And he
fuck?
turned it down. He said it was for religious reasons. He didn't want to cuss, and he didn't want to smoke weed on camera.
After watching what happened to Martin and Jamie, you can understand why he stayed silent for so long. A few years back, when Chris was asked why he wouldn't return for another Friday movie, he played it cool, claiming he just didn't want to do sequels anymore. But let's be real, after seeing what went down with his peers, that no sequels excuse starts sounding like a safe cover story.
Go to Martin Lawrence, Kevin Hart, Jamie Foxx. They were saying, hey, we'd love to do them. And to be fair, they did amazing jobs at those roles. Now, since they did such a good job, they didn't really need Chris anymore. But that was fine with Chris. When I say he was turning down movies, I mean he turned down hundreds of millions of dollars worth of movies. And it's literally just as simple as he didn't want to do it. He didn't want all that came with it. Other people decided to fill the role, win.
That no sequels excuse, total cap. Because right after turning Friday down, Chris Tucker jumped into Rush Hour. Then Rush Hour 2, 3, and even 4.
Not even begin to tell you how far it took me and how it brought me back. I went through something that I thought I would never ever go through. And I know a lot of people were waiting, or wanting to hear updates, but to be honest with you, I just didn't want you to see me like that, man. I want you to see me laugh.
So clearly sequels weren't the problem. Something way deeper was going on that he didn't want to say out loud. Chris has always been, and still is, deeply religious.
Now, by being quiet, sometimes things, get out of hand. People saying what I got. Some people said I was blind, but as you can see, the eyes are working. Eyes are working just fine. Said I was paralyzed. I'm not paralyzed. But I did go through, and I know they talk about people crying on videos. You can do take two, but I'm not gonna do a take two. It is what it is.
So a lot of the shady, twisted stuff happening in Hollywood just didn't sit right with him. That's why walking away from millions was so easy once they started pushing him toward things he found straight up wrong.
If you see me out from now on and every once in a while I just burst into tears, is because it's been tough, man. I was sick, man, but now I got my legs under me, so you're gonna see me out. But like I said, I just want you to remember me for the jokes that I crack, the movies that I make. Some of them good, some of them ain't. I think I got a good one out. And the songs that I sing, man. And then, you know, some people were talking about I'm clone.
And get this, one of the reasons he passed on Another Friday wasn't even about the script, it was the cast.
No, he poisoned Jamie Foxx, and Jamie Foxx reported him to the FBI because of it. I know that's a fact.
So, wait, you're saying that Diddy poisoned Jamie Foxx and that's how Jamie Foxx got sick?
Jamie Foxx reported this man to the FBI because of this. It's facts.
Wow. Okay, and how did you hear about this? If you can tell me, or if you can't, that's all good. But you know what I'm saying? Like, well, you know.
Chris admitted most of his co-stars were heavy smokers, and that alone was enough for him to say nope and step away from the role without a second thought.
People are they're gonna want to know, you know what I'm saying, how this happened, or you know what I'm saying, what's the backstory to this?
Well, by the time this drop, this is gonna be in the stratosphere. It's gonna be in the ether by the time this drop. You can probably look it up right now. But by the time this interview drop, this is gonna be out in the ether for sure.
Once Chris started turning down roles, Hollywood didn't waste a single second trying to win him back. They swapped him out instantly for people who'd play by the rules and do exactly what they were told.
These people poison people, bro. I've been poisoned 3 times. Why am I testing positive for cyanide? You feel me? Why do I had pneumonia 3 times? So people like, man, why he breathe like that? Because I only got 1 lung. And then I had a car crash. I got 1 nostril permanently blocked. And I done had pneumonia 3 times.
And like I mentioned earlier, the replacements included Martin Lawrence, Jamie Foxx, and Kevin Hart.
Somebody been trying to poison me. My brother got poisoned with me. The little lady I was bodyguarding, she got poisoned. Like, somebody is carrying on these antics. These is facts.
Is there any idea why Diddy would want to poison Jamie Foxx?
You get called to testify if you on camera and some of this footage, and you want to make it a little bit easier for yourself.
The industry wanted a funny black comedian, but this time they weren't banking on just one star. They stacked the roster with multiple comedians at once, making sure none of them ever felt too powerful or special enough to pull a Chris Tucker and start picking and choosing their roles.
It's ways in this industry people go about doing things. Just know I tested positive for cyanide 3 times. After drinking some bottles in the club. Once you get hit with the cyanide, it turned into pneumonia. I had it 3 times.
The first to fall was Martin Lawrence back in 1996, and it was wild. He was found in the middle of a busy Sherman Oaks intersection, clutching a firearm and shouting at random drivers that someone was trying to take his life.
Dr. Schutte came out. He said, well, we didn't find where it was coming from, but he is having a stroke. He may be able to make a full recovery, but it's gonna be the worst. My youngest daughter, she's 14. I didn't want her to see me like that. But she snuck into my hospital room with her guitar. They said I was paralyzed. Said I couldn't walk.
One witness even claimed Martin was yelling, "Fight, don't give up, fight the power," as cops and medics tried to get him under control. But here's where it gets shady.
In 15 years in Hollywood, no one in Hollywood has a memory of going to a sold-out Kevin Hart show, there being a line for him ever getting a standing ovation at any comedy club. He already had his deals when he got here. Have we heard of a comedian that came to LA and in his first year in LA, he had his own sitcom on network television and had his own movie called Soul Plane that he was leading? No, we've never heard of that before that person or since that person.
Instead of digging into why he was saying all this, the media buried the story's edge. They brushed it off as just a manic episode and rushed him to the hospital. The tabloids kept branding him as troubled. hinting he was on substances, while completely ignoring his chilling claims that someone was actually after him.
What do you think a plant is? Maybe people don't understand the definitions of these words. He just did his documentary with Chris Rock where he shows you that his whole upbringing in comedy was on the East Coast.
Yeah, it was.
So how simultaneously was he here in Los Angeles doing the same thing? It didn't happen. It didn't happen. And I hate to seem like a petty individual for picking apart lies.
This is where it turns downright chilling. The doctors who treated Martin came forward and flat out denied the media's narrative. They made it clear there was no medication or substances involved in his breakdown. And here's the kicker.
Satan can't create anything. That includes blessings for his people. That's why, you know what the number one job of somebody that sold their soul in Hollywood is?
What?
Is to act like it didn't happen. They all do the same job. Why do you think Gary Owen can't cross over and he already white and been in comedy for 25 years?
Just 3 years after that chaos, Martin almost lost his life to a sudden medical emergency. Then in August 1999, things got even scarier. Martin collapsed while jogging in extreme heat and slipped into a coma. He was lucky to survive, but when he woke up, something had changed. He was never quite the same. His career lost its spark, and rumors swirled that he's been quietly battling multiple health issues ever since.
The Chris Tucker that we got now is Epstein Island Chris Tucker.
Oh, Lord.
Not Smokey.
Oh, Lord.
If I didn't know no better, I'd tell you he's the greatest. I don't care what you say. To be confident and not delusional is a real skill.
And it didn't stop there. Jamie Foxx faced his own nightmare in April 2023 when news broke that he'd been rushed to the hospital after reportedly suffering a stroke. Word on the street, Jamie Foxx's stroke wasn't just bad luck, it was allegedly an attack. The rumor says he was poisoned, and the source of that rumor is none other than Diddy's former bodyguard, Big Homie CC.
Most of these confident people we see is really delusional.
Well, you don't think they asked Chris Tucker to come back in the second Friday? Smokey was all in Smokey. There ain't no Friday without Smokey.
We all agree to that, and there's no next Friday without Friday, and there's no Friday after next without Friday.
Nah, we talk about the road because you said that they don't.
Here's the thing.
Okay.
Here's the thing. Chris was allowed to make the decision. At the time that this is happening,
he didn't sugarcoat a thing. He flat out accused Diddy of being behind Jamie's sudden illness, claiming they allegedly hit him with cyanide. Big Homie even said he was targeted himself, twice, with the exact same poison, and in one attempt, his own brother got caught in the crossfire. Somehow they both survived, but the story is chilling. And here's the wildest part.
Katt Williams is known for smoking weed. Willie Nelson is known for smoking.
Right.
Snoop's known for smoking weed. But none of us is really known except Willie. And I'm saying, Chris Tucker didn't want to be the poster child for smoking. He don't smoke like that.
Right.
He in the church. He Michael Jackson's best friend. Christmas. Michael Jackson called him Christmas. You ever met a man that gave you a little nickname like that?
No.
Me neither.
Big Homie claims the reason Jamie stays so secretive about what really happened is because he actually reported Diddy to the FBI for poisoning him. But without hard evidence, the case never saw daylight and the public was left in the dark. Now, unlike Jamie and Martin, Kevin Hart hasn't faced any sudden health scares, but according to Katt Williams, that's because Kevin played the game. Katt straight up called him a sellout, claiming Hollywood handpicked Kevin to fill the spot he left behind when he turned down certain deals to protect his soul. Katt didn't hold back. He said Kevin's rise wasn't some organic grind from the bottom. It was manufactured. In Katt's words, Kevin's an industry plant, propped up and funded by powerful insiders pulling the strings. Katt then lit into Kevin even harder, calling him a straight-up Hollywood lapdog for gladly taking on movie roles that Katt had already rejected, especially the ones that painted him in a certain way on screen. But here's the twist. From the way Katt was talking, it sounded like both he and Chris Tucker faced the same type of pressure in Hollywood. Yet when the topic of Chris came up, Katt didn't hold back. He blasted Chris too, lumping him in with Martin, Jamie, and Kevin and labeling them all as sellouts. He even accused Chris of using those roles he turned down as a calculated cover, a way to hide his own shady industry connections while keeping his image clean in the public eye. As always, the public had plenty to say. One person wrote, "I think Hollywood wanted Chris Tucker to start doing things that were completely immoral." And he said no. He stepped back from the roles they dangled in front of him. Good for him. living life on his own terms for Jesus Christ's sake. What an awesome man to honor his mother and father and remember who he truly is and how he was raised. Another chimed in, Chris knows Hollywood is a wicked place, and that's why he said he and Chappelle had a similar walk. He will never sell out to the elite. It's deeper than money. But now I'm curious, what do you think? Was Chris Tucker smart for walking away from all that Hollywood money? Or do you believe Katt Williams when he calls Chris a sellout hiding behind a clean image? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, share this video, subscribe for more Hollywood drama, and I'll see you on the next one.